Why do gender roles restrict life opportunities? Imagine a world where everyone could choose their path without being held back by what society expects of their gender. Sadly, that's not the reality for many people today. Gender roles are social expectations about how men and women should behave, based on what society has taught us over time. These roles are not natural or biological. They are learned through a process called gender socialization. Family, friends, media, and schools all play a part in shaping what behaviors, attitudes, and responsibilities are seen as appropriate for each gender. Because these roles are deeply rooted in culture and tradition, they become rigid rules that define what is acceptable for men and women. These roles limit life opportunities because they create narrow boxes for behavior and choices. For example, society often expects women to be caring, nurturing, and focused on home life. Men, on the other hand, are expected to be assertive, dominant, and to be the main earners. These expectations can prevent women from pursuing careers in leadership or science, and they can discourage men from taking on caregiving roles or showing emotion. When society enforces these stereotypes, it becomes harder for individuals to explore interests outside the traditional roles. This means fewer options for education, jobs, or lifestyles that do not fit the expected gender norms. From a sociological point of view, gender roles are part of the larger idea of social roles, which are behaviors expected from people based on their social status. Because gender is such a fundamental part of social identity, the roles assigned to men and women influence how they interact with others and what opportunities they can access. When society sticks to strict gender roles, it limits people's ability to follow their passions or talents that don't match those roles. This restriction affects their participation in social, economic, and political activities, keeping some groups at a disadvantage. Gender roles also help maintain social hierarchies by reinforcing inequalities. When men are seen as dominant and women as subordinate, it supports power differences that affect access to resources, decision-making, and authority. This keeps gender inequality alive and limits the chances for those who don't fit the traditional mold. For example, occupational segregation often means certain jobs are labeled as suitable only for men or women. Women may carry most of the unpaid household and caregiving work, which leaves less time for paid employment or education. People who challenge gender norms may face social penalties or discrimination, discouraging them from trying new roles. In practical terms, these restrictions show up in many ways. Certain careers are seen as only for men or only for women, which limits options. Women often do more housework and caregiving, which can reduce their time for paid work or studying. Social penalties exist for those who break gender norms, making it harder for them to live authentically. Structural barriers in education and politics also favor traditional gender roles, making it tougher for women or non-binary people to succeed in leadership positions. All these factors show that gender roles are not just about personal preferences. They are social rules that shape what people can do and how far they can go. They limit individual freedom and keep inequalities in place. Understanding these roles as a key sociological concept helps us see how norms and expectations influence behavior and access to opportunities, ultimately affecting the life chances of everyone based on their gender.